why do you think men are not found in their numbers in the church?
Hey, I thought I should have that one.
Because there's this mentality. And I preach you fella ki di mainline churches. I preach you like bazalwana ba pholositsweng ba bitsang Jesu burwa bona. Ba I preach.
Are you preaching that when?
No.
Okay.
I will tell you what I'm preaching because I preached it yesterday. I will tell you what I'm preaching. Apartheid itlusantate. It is some root symbolically. And any person who does not see what apartheid is doing, they remember the only thing that could have mobilized black people is a church because it's the only hope.
Yes.
Now, if men don't trust the pastor, how do they go to church? And that distrust continues up to today. Up to today, that distrust continues.
Can you confirm?
Well, I'm not sure if that is why men are not going to church. For me, the reason why men are not going to church, it's that thing the emotional, the issue because they are easily as weak people emotionally. They receive words easy. If you look at how a man is made and how a woman is made, a man o khona go ka sejuswa ke motho wa mme asa bua nix asa dira nix the way apering ka teng fela a iphetela mole monna o attractiwe ke se a se bona. But with women, they are attracted by what they hear. So for you to win a woman, you don't need to say a lot of things. Go wana wa mo fa nthole fela gore o montle o wa you know, like once you say those things, what do you receive? And then they already
but there's this,
you know how I think the one thing that in this generation,
yes,
it was influenced by the apartheid system to create that dependence. Now we have moved from that.
Yes.
But if you look at it, it comes again from, I think it's men mostly who are creating this whole situation. Because now we find men who are supposed to be fathers to our children. If the parents habasaliteng or the parents are struggling, Ngwana is trying to make a living. Oh, Mita Ndate Hlangi is well off, o tsamaya ka koloi e shapo, o tsaya ngwana o mo introduce mo lifestyling. I'm going to take care of you. Now mo fa lifestyle e leng gore go ga bone ha khone go ka ikreya. Wena wa dlala as a sugar daddy. Ngwana o desperate o batla go ya ko sekolo. We've got children who go through varsity funded by sugar daddies.
Yes.
You understand? Why, as a father, don't you just, if you are capable of assisting Ngwana why don't you just say, I'm adopting this child, I'll see this child through school, whatever, as a daughter, sure, not coming in as a
Hey, a beautiful Sunday indeed. A great morning. What an honor and a privilege to get Apostle. Finally. Hi.
A very good afternoon.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm very well. Thank you.
At Radical Conversation, thank you for honoring us when we made that call and you chose what Asibasabi Siyabafuna. And last week we were talking about women, and we, as part of celebrating women and Women's Month, we then resolved, let's touch on issues of women. And last week, one of the things that we were talking about was the psyche of apartheid, when they were making sure that bontate bayako hostel, bomme they remain at home, and when bomme they remain at home, honali an effect e. Fast forward, we then said, this week, let us focus on, and I'm also glad that you're a pastor. This week, let us also focus on There are people who, maybe am I allowed to say, women are emotional beings. And as the emotional beings, they get to be easily manipulated in issues of spirituality.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
In issues of spirituality.
In issues of spirituality, maybe let me be clear. O fitlhele ho na le batlanka ba modimo ba ko dikerekeng go bitswa batho bo daddy, and I will serve daddy with everything, my body, dikotlolo tse dintšha tsa go gaka le dilo tse anything se leng saka, for as long as le daddy. These are the realities tse di leng teng. You understand?
Yeah, true,
But
yeah.
let's talk about the role of women in church today.
Okay.
As the most people who are kenang kereke go feta bontate, granted and admitted. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree on that.
Okay.
I agree. I think I agree because it's what I was looking at today. Actually, I was talking about it. Ke re, bona bomme ba bangata.
Eh.
You know, like go feta bontate. But anyway, yes, it's true. The majority in the church you find bomme. And I think what you just mentioned about bomme being emotional beings, I think it's an issue of whatever that you bring, they receive it with everything that they have.
I like when you say whatever that you bring, they receive it.
Yeah.
At times without dissenting.
Without discerning, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I think maybe that's why the Lord said women are a weaker vessel. When he speaks of a woman, about it, she's a weaker vessel. I don't think it's weaker in the sense of the physical strength or so, but the issue, weaker emotionally. I think rebellious.
Last week we were also saying there's this tendency, kabomme, when you say weaker vessel, I'm thinking out loud, and I'm thinking last week we were saying also, when they are resourced, they're arrogant. When they are resourced, it's about them. It's about them and their close people, not anybody else.
I was listening to that.
Yes.
Interestingly.
Yes.
But I really like to say, with women, it goes with, okay, whatever that you put in is what you get out.
So they wait for something to be put. They cannot put their own.
Because I'm simply saying how they respond to certain things depends on what they've gone through. In most cases, like you spoke about the emotions, they are mostly affected by what they have been through or what they have experienced. I was saying during the week, bontate, be careful that whatever that you model to your child, almost settle a standard. Say I expect that if as a father you reject her, she's gonna go around everywhere. Whatever a little thing that happens, I translate that to rejection because she's expecting rejection. It's what she has known. But how a filwe lerato. I expect so whatever that you put in them, and that is what influences the decisions that they make, the moves that they make. Because in most cases, all the abuse and emotional abuse and self-worth, those things make them go around looking for validation. So that's why, if you'll notice, I think this year I've realized in most cases, most gatherings, August, they were all talking about self-assertion, asserting yourself, asserting one another, affirming one another. Because now we are realizing as women that the problem comes from the fact that everything that has affected them negatively, struggle, validate. So that's why when they get to the church, that is where they will be feeling like now that's why they will serve daddy with everything that they have because they are being embraced. They finally get to a place where they are receiving ntho e leng kgale ba batlana le yona.
Well, that's a good afternoon again. Yes.
After
Yes.
this,
The question becomes, at what stage do they see that this is wrong? Because most of them, they become the victims. I can tell you of scenarios and situations where I know gore motlhanka modimo robetse le mme le ngwana le setlogolo, 3 generations into a family. You understand? And baba dumelana. Be go nna okay. Is that validation?
Knowing
or is that
gore-
dead sick?
with them knowing gore
Yes, knowing. And I also do not want to talk about situations where you know women, because ntate atla ka chelete, ntate khona go tsoga ko kamoreng e ka thuetlo ka ya ko kamoreng e ka mole, and mme aba bona go le normal, and ke ntho ke linyala la sendlini. We understand? Ke bofoko di bantate. It must be covered. Ba bang o fitlhele gore o etsetse eng. These are the realities tse di leng teng that society is trying very hard go di suppress, and as a result it becomes a problem. The spirits are incest in families. You said last week, you promised gore you will address the issue of why were the pastors left ha banna ba ile hostel, malapa setsi le baruti. Eya muruti.
No, without actually saying May is wrong from the angle ya tswa moyon.
Yes.
But there was a spirit sa apartheid in a function to break families. Let's take a single family. To break that family, you remove the father figure. You replace the father figure with another father figure. What are you saying to the original father figure? Who knows very well that I'm capable of doing anything that any other man can do. But now I've been denied the opportunity to be a father. And we seem to be frustrated now when Bontate behave like ATMs. We forget that the system of apartheid treated them as ATMs.
Created ATMs out of them.
Created ATMs out of them. Barumela chelte ko high for 12 months, and then on the 12th month they arrive.
Yes.
So they are ATMs. And out of that system, Bomme did not necessarily, while they were a victim, they did not necessarily help. Because even today, what do we teach our girl children?
But
Re hloka hore a girl children ha nyalwa, a nyalwe ke a rich man.
yes.
Is the girl child rich herself? Is she rich herself? If she's not rich, how does she set a standard? Sasilo sa se batlang, se ena sa sa attain.
Oh, ke dithuto tsa mmage kgotsa tsa
And
ntatagage.
that's where the challenge is. And I'm not saying I sympathize with my sisters. Because walking out of a system as atrocious as apartheid, without anybody giving you a direction. Bomme they haba khutla go tswa go kitchen. Ba kena mo malape. Remember, haba destroy le lapa ba tusteng tate. Be ba tlosa le mme equally. Ne me a robala ko doxy. Ntate a robala ko hostel. Right? And then when everybody else returns home, me has got a mentality where everything is available. Remember, oja dijo tsa the master. Wa apara diaparo tsa the master. So, o tla ka mentality where everything is available now. This man comes and he's got nothing available.
But that is like I take gore that would be a generation yabo papa, my father.
Sure.
O tsetsweng ka 1936.
Sure.
Sharp. Then fast forward between the 60s, 70s, 80s. Bomme ba are not good kitchening. Ke bon that slepe who is in a position. Ke bomme makomba who's an accountant, and as a result habasa go. They're in the boardrooms. How are they influencing bana ba bona? Because what we are finding, Apostle, what we are finding, there's still that expectation. Ha motho a tla a re Mom, mang has an interest. Ngwanaka o etsa eng? We want assurity. Ngwanaka o etsa eng? We understand background ya gagwe and all these other things. There are some iniquities, steady spiritual and whatever. But re batla assurity ya gore wa bereka, can he take care of you and all that. So as a result, taking care of you creates a problem and an expectation. And now it is also making bana ba banana to have the mentality of entitlement.
I think I think the one thing that in this generation,
yes,
it was influenced by the apartheid system to create that dependence. Now we have moved from that.
Yes.
But if you look at it, it comes again from, I think it's men mostly who are creating this whole situation. Because now we find men who are supposed to be fathers to our children. If the parents habasaliteng or the parents are struggling, Ngwana is trying to make a living. O mita ndate Hlangi is well off, o tsa makakolo ye shapo, o tsa ngwana o introduce mo lifestyling. I'm going to take care of you. Now mo fa lifestyle e leng gore ko ga bone ha khone go ka ikreya. Wena wa dlala as a sugar daddy. Ngwana o desperate o batla go ya ko sekolo. We've got children who go through varsity funded by sugar daddies.
Yes.
You understand? Why, as a father, don't you just, if you are capable of assisting Ngwana why don't you just say, I am adopting this child, I'll see this child through school, whatever, as a daughter, not coming in as becoming a boyfriend.
Would you agree? Would you agree with me, gore gona le bo rakgadi le bo auntie ba bangwe ba ba reng he o godile a ke sa go rekela diaparo dilo tsa go tlhapa tsa mo go izamela ha o bone mamang wa go etsa eng? So as a result le ena gore men are no longer hunted, are no longer hunters, but they get to be hunted. And in the process banna le di ego tsa bone ba feleletsa angang jwaela wa bona angang jwaela, so angang jwaela e nna ntwa gore ke tla modira wa bona, but it's wrong. But this comes from a society because families are broken. This comes from a society because ga gona batho ga ba thusane. Where is this coming from? And also, why is it not addressed today?
But it's not only black kids who are going through this.
Yes.
White parents, the divorce rate in white parents is far more than a divorce rate about Tobanzo. Yet bana ba bona ba banyana, they do not look up to their fathers as sugar daddies. So we need to trace the spirit. Besides saying a man is corrupt in mind, because it's only a corrupt man in mind who wishes to sleep with her daughter. It's only a corrupt man in mind. Yes. A real man does not do that. A real man walks in, when I get klapa, it becomes normal. I walk in, I take what I take, I walk out. There's nothing that goes in my mind. And the same thing, even if I come feta, I will walk in and walk out as if nothing happened. Because I'm a parent. Right? But why is it, and until we trace that spirit, why is it that only people who are poor behave this way? What is it that poverty carries? Are
we to say poor on this level? Because I have seen, I'm sure you will confirm it, ne? Most of children from affluent families who tends to be resourced, bana baruna, ne? Baba kenang ko dikolong tsa di molelsi. Ke bona ba ba dirang metlholo go feta ba ba tswang ko dikolong tse di poor.
Agreed. Agreed.
So we can agree for it's not about class.
Yes.
It's a, like you are saying, I love what you are saying. It's a spirit.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, about the family unit. I love what you said, but the intention of the apartheid was to divide the families. And why divide the families? It's so that bana ba teng ha ba gola ba le broken and they are not focused, so they cannot become they cannot have strong characters because already they come from broken families. And it is how the devil has been operating all along, and it is how he operates. If he wants to destroy a community, he has to start by destroying the parents. So if the parents are born self stable, they cannot instill mo baneng ba bona. They cannot influence bana ba bona. You know, let's say for instance a parent who is I get with me. I always say to the girls around me in my circle, I always say to them, I don't understand a girl who'll wake up and say, I can't do this, I can afford it. There's Tupperware, it's easy to join Tupperware and start selling. Selling A1 can make you chill their toiletry. So I say there's those simple things that we can look at, provider. So I say, because since Elena, I've never known how to be provided for by a man. So that has created that independence in me to a point that I still feel that need. I love having my own money.
Yes.
So now we are saying, let's educate our children, let's educate the girl child. Let's get to a place of talking to them from time to time. Move from the system because it's something society is creating indoda must. So every woman gets into the relationship with that mentality indoda must do this, indoda must have this, indoda must. But we are simply saying let's move from there.
Can we migrate to now? Maybe you would answer this question when we are going to get into that. Why were Baruti left? We are going into church. We are going. Agree? The family is broken, and the hope is church. Now in church, stock. Let's get there.
Pastor has been created to be a predator.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, here's the issue. Why do you think men are not found in their numbers in the church?
Hey, I thought I should have that one.
Because there's this mentality. And I preach you fella ki di mainline churches. I preach you like bazalwana ba pulusitsweng ba bitsang Jesu burua bona. Ba preach.
Are you preaching that, Yuan?
No.
Okay.
I will tell you what I'm preaching because I preached it yesterday. I will tell you what I'm preaching. Apartheid itlusantate. Itlisa moruti. Symbolically. And any person who does not see what apartheid is doing, they remember the only thing that could have mobilized black people is a church because it's the only hope.
Yes.
Now, if men don't trust the pastor, how do they go to church? And that distrust continues up to today. Up to today, that distrust continues.
Can you confirm?
Well, I'm not sure if that is why men are not going to church. For me, the reason why men are not going to church, it's that thing the emotional, the issue because they are easily as weak people emotionally. They receive words easy. If you look at how a man is made and how a woman is made, a man asa bua nix asa dira nix the way apering ka teng fela a iphetela mole monna o attractiwe ke se a se bona. But with women, they are attracted by what they hear. So for you to win a woman, you don't need to say a lot of things. You know, like once you say those things, what the receiver, and then they already
but there's this apostle, there's this resolve. Wanting to serve wholeheartedly. There's nothing wrong to serve, but wanting to serve wholeheartedly, daddy, papa, daddy, and in the process,
it's a deep spirit. It's a very deep spirit. It's so deep that bomme unwittingly replaced Baruti. Unwittingly. And Baruti, they are not discouraging it. That's where my challenge with them is. They are not saying, look, me, I'm bringing the message. I'm the messenger. There's a guy who does everything. Now, the theater, Baruti ba actor, bomme ba wa, all of those things are not attracting bondad. They are not. Remember.
But how do I become attracted ha go twa moruti wa tla suddenly go ntshiwa dikotlolo tse nna ke sa jeng ka tsona
But that's
ke
why
shebile and I'm like ow wa bona
that's why apartheid kept them.
so me a ra gona tšhelete then the next thing go a neelwa tier 200
No, I think ke issue ya gore we have grown. I get know the fact that mostly they ba gola ba ya kerekeng ne, and then they are taught church and they receive church instead of receiving Christ. Ne? And then receiving church, everything about them becomes about church. Something that I normally say, we are raising a society, we are raising a society ya kereke e golofetseng, in a sense that we raise daughters who are spirit-filled, who are able to read the Bible, who know everything about church. But when you come to their mental capacity in terms of
Social.
of their intellectual capacity, social life ya bona and whatever, but not stereotyped. You try to talk to them ka dilo tse di general, you will be amazed that people who are raised in the church ba bang ha ba itse le gore go etsagalang the current state of affairs or the current affairs of the state.
But wasn't it will you agree with me will maybe then it really like open a can of worms ne, and maybe next week we must engage on it.
Sure. Why
Africans were made Christians, in terms of making them docile, in terms of making them to forget who they are, and also Lerona not forgetting that this Christianity, we did not take it willingly. It was enforced by the oppressor. If our colonizers were Arabs, we could have been Bob Abdul. We understand? And we could have been Bo Mahomet and would be doing all those things.
This is strong evidence.
Yes. So then let us say, wasn't it the purpose of them doing that? Because we're still stuck. Mo goreng ba ke ko kerekeng ya Roma batho ba bantsho ga ba apara seaparo ko magweng a gona seaparo. Why is this? Understand? Madodana kwala gona madodana. Why is this? There was a program that is created to make sure that people are being kept and have been made to think. What's your take?
No, indeed. I think the issue how people handle Christianity, that is where the problem is. Hence I say we teach people church, we don't teach them Christ.
We teach them religion, not spirituality.
Yes.
Okay.
Because now, baiti religion, but habana relationship.
The intimate relationship.
Intimate relationship. Because for me, the intimate relationship with God gives you wisdom. And that is where you are able to can say no to certain things. But I cannot uphold my pastor above
my family else,
because the order ya Mudimu starts with it starts with God, and then comes the family, then comes the church.
Hey. So
it's mistakes that I think Libaruti Babangata, they have made the same mistake. They have not been exposed to the fact that I need to prioritize my family over the church. That's where we tell most pastors lose their families because now they are focused on serving the church and they neglect the families. And then the family is broken. That's why Babang, that's where they end up by just talk, as you say. It's things that are switch hardy roles, forgetting after God comes my family instead of my the church.
But like you spoke of seduction before you go under the slab. Sister Giyo decides, Murut, I saw this suit in this shop and I felt like le hempe ya teng, le vest ya teng. Wa bona? Now you go like, where is this coming from? Mamurutu encourage it's your father, do anything. These are some of the things that are pushed in church.
They are pushed in that, and one of the things that kills a black nation is failure to be honest and frank with one another. We need to be frank and say to us as a nation, the way when you teach something to black people, you can't bring them back. And if the foundation is wrong, they build a house fair. And then they will maintain it, but they will stick to it. Yeah, entirely raw. And that's where the church came in. When apartheid was to say those that would return first, whether mother or father, the point of coming together becomes the church. And if the missionaries preaches the church wrongly, and the order of the family wrongly, and the order of the kingdom of God wrongly,
will I be right to say, according to Leopardo, the missionaries have always taught the church wrong, and these churches say you see a behavior more. I doubt
one of the challenges in the Malungane as a church,
yes,
is that we institutionalized theology in a spiritual world. The day at meeting, so say, because why did Peter not go to school, but could preach for 5,000 people and they repent? And we need somebody to go to school to come and teach the same Jesus that Peter taught us at school. What is wrong with us? Yeah? But the day that discussion, what is it that education has that keeps on creating the type of black people that we see? Do you know how difficult it is for a black person to run a business? Do you know how difficult it is?
MBA, but they can't run. But
They can't run a business.
are Apostle to respond to some of the things that you just said?
I love what you say, Kahore. If you give if you give them something, they run with it and they build with it effectively. That's what I was saying. Once you give them something, they receive it and they will take it. Whatever we be why multiply. So that's why the behavior they will take multiply. They receive wholeheartedly. Now it comes back to, I know it is not a good thing to try and pin it on men, but it is in unfortunately, and you are saying why encourage. In most cases, it's not an issue of mamuruti why encourage. The problem is that once mamuruti are receiving gifts from Baputehi in this manner is not good. Because anything in a sentimental value. Now you're gonna take this thing every time you look at it, it reminds you sister who feeling yon. Understand? So the moment we voice those things out as Bomamuruti, you are seen as being insecure. Why when I
understand.
It comes as if now you are addressing your insecurities. Now, how in that issue? Now it comes back to saying, they are supposed to step up and say, but let me draw the line. Unfortunately, Bone self, they don't draw the line. There was this thing I think other thing ibula the access to all these things. Ki issue ya go alawa motho ile moruti aba counselor sister. Understand? Bali two. It's supposed to be like that in a world of saying moruti is a counselor. But now the issues sister tlabeng atlaka tsone ka nako engwe ke tse ileng gore you can realize gore but these things ha di batle motho leng gore wa bona with a psychologist or with a therapist, it's easier because ke motho senang relationship le ene. You come in, you go. With your pastor you have a relationship because this is the person that you work with in church. Understand? So opening yourself up to him in that manner, it's different from when you are opening yourself to a therapist or anything afterwards.
Can we then agree to say, because the church is not regulated, and because the church can just wake up and maybe next week, if God willing and God allows, let's go to cults. Because in the occultic church, and not only occultic church, let's honor the kereke dinan lebo father. Reborn in twi. Or father, ungena madoda ngene nabafazi. You understand? Ba be ba lwane, ba be ba behave, ubone bomme ba tloyana, bomme ba ba nyetswe. ha ba batlane because ba tseka moruti ke basadi ba batho mara ba tseka moruti ba tseka ke mang ka la bono o tla ba kolomaka ko a etsang aina and all these things but then what are we saying about this thing?
No, it would be good. It would be good that we open the thing of occultic belief to start to say, when does a church degenerate into a cult? When? And what are those things that we can tick in the boxes and say these things
signs of a cult?
This is a cult.
And
we have to go there.
No, we are going there. We are going there next week. And also, can you agree? The reason why I'm thinking of a cult, mostly occultic churches, you would get baruti if kuna le ntho ba ifepelang, ne ntho e batla thobalana. An assignment in a day you must give 7. You understand? So as a result, part ya go create batho ba ke counseling. Part ya go create batho ba, how do you lure them back? Counseling, false prophecy, and getting money out of them.
But it's also a simple misunderstanding of a simple verse. Very simple verse. You find it in the book of Timothy. You see, if Bomme Baba Hulu could take the role of being role models, both sister for counseling, they don't have to go to the pastor.
But me mohulu o hana monna. O spenda na kwa go kerekeng. Ana motlhanka modimo ke motlhanka modimo. Can we agree that we do that until then?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.